I was at the local small town Greasy Spoon, if you know, then you know. And a gentleman came in, looked around with a weary look on his face, and sat down at the table behind me. Without even thinking about it, I asked the waitress to come over, told her I wanted to do a good deed and that I would get the guy's meal, but she couldn't tell him who did it, and I will. You give her an okay tip, swell, just to do a good deed for the day. She gained that grin that you only get when your heart is warmed by a kind gesture. She wrote up the tickets and added them together and brought them over to me. As the gentleman was eating, he kept telling the waitress how good his meal was. Little did he know, he wouldn't have to okay, and it made me feel really good because he looked like he had been through hell and back. As I left, he walked by coming back from the restroom and I asked him how his meal was, and he excitedly said, "Oh, it was really good. First good meal I have had in almost a week." I think I had that heartwarming look on my face as I was walking out to my vehicle, and that really felt great. Raising kids is weird. It's amazing the little tiny stuff that sticks with them and affects them. So try not to mess it up. When my daughter was a toddler, sometimes she did not want to go to sleep after reading several books. So I would pull out a big book of baby names and start reading from that until she fell asleep. 5 years later, it is on her shelf, and she reads it for fun and tells me about the neat new names she has found. I was in the hospital, knowing I'd be there for at least a week, and possibly more. I was sick of hospital food, so I went downstairs to go across the street to the hospital subway. I was pretty far back in the hospital, 6th floor, backside of the building, labyrinth of staircases and hallways to get out the front door. The walk from there to subway took almost 15 minutes. Even though it was just across the street, I waited in line, got up to the counter to order, and realized I'd left my wallet in my room. I ordinarily keep my wallet in my back pocket, but there was no need to in the hospital since I was in my room most of the time. I was exhausted mentally by that point from the stay, told them I'd forgotten the wallet, and turned to make the trek all the way there and back again. All of a sudden, a nurse behind me bought my food for me, saving me the trip and the money. I thanked him profusely. That was years ago, but I will never forget that act of kindness. Raising kids is weird. It's amazing the little tiny stuff that sticks with them and affects them. So try not to mess it up. When my daughter was a toddler, sometimes she did not want to go to sleep after reading several books. So I would pull out a big book of baby names and start reading from that until she fell asleep. 5 years later, it is on her shelf, and she reads it for fun and tells me about the neat new names she has found.